Rockets, we are back reading Zane and the Hurricane. And of course, you should have your graphic organizers out as well as your plot sheet, beginning events, middle events, end events. So I don't think we have any new settings or any new characters, and our problem has not changed. So I want to jump into when we last left off. Zane was not in a good situation, was he? He was not. Bandy had led him straight back to Grammy's house, Miss Trissy, who's Grammy, led him straight back there, right in the midst of the hurricane. And remember, Zane had gotten in contact with Mom, and Mom said she would call the police, but nobody ever came to see about him. All right? And when he went to pick up the phone to call for help, the phone was dead. Think about this. Based upon the evidence from the text, what could have made the phone go dead? And he said the house was totally dark. So that leads me to believe that the power must have been out. What could have led to that? Think about what was going on in the previous part of the text that we read. Jot me down something in the comments to try and answer that question. Now, let's shift over to your event sheet. When we ended on yesterday, I said that we had now moved into the middle. And I asked you to jot down what had happened. Where was Zane? What was going on with him? So I jotted down my first middle event. Bandit led Zane back to Grammy's house right in the middle of the hurricane. Did anyone get anything similar like that jotted down? If you did, you can also share that in the comments with me. Just type it down there, please. And if you weren't quite sure, you came close or weren't quite sure, think about what I wrote and see how you can paraphrase it. Put it in your own words. All right. If you need to pause, you may pause. We're going to pick up on chapter 8. Something big and bad. A gust slams against the side of the house, rattling the windows. Bandy hunkers down on his tummy, whimpering, obviously scared of hurricanes. Smart dog. Is Zane scared of hurricanes too? Think about all we've learned. The storm gets stronger and stronger until the house whispers too. The house whispers? Or is the wind causing noises within the house? What do you think? We'll be okay, I keep telling the dog, hoping, really hoping it's true. Then, all of a sudden, a window explodes, punched in by a falling branch. The broken tree fingers scratch at the windowsill like a thing alive, and Bandy goes nuts as if he thinks he can scare the storm away by barking at it. I'm crouched down in the doorway in the middle of the house, as far from the window as possible, knees to my chin, hands protecting my head, because that's what Mom said we should always do in a tornado. If the roof flies off, don't look up. That was what Mom's other instructions that's what Mom's other instruction about a tornado was. But this isn't a tornado dancing through a town, exploding buildings and then going away. As bad as a tornado might be, and believe me, it can be terrible, at least it doesn't last long. It wrecks the world and then moves on. But the hurricane feels like it's here to stay and getting stronger by the minute. The wind. The wind is so strong. Please, please stop the wind. That's what keeps running through my mind. making bets with myself that the storm is about to weaken, that the wind will give up any second now. But I keep losing those bets and the storm keeps blowing. Please, please stop. Begging, it doesn't work. Praying, it doesn't work. Nothing stops the storm. It just keeps on howling and shaking the house. Darkness melts into dawn. And as the sky gets lighter, the wind screams higher and higher. Over the screaming wind, a shrill, stuttering kind of noise comes from the street. Sounds almost like ha ha ha, crazy laughter, rising and falling, rising and falling. Finally, I can't stand it anymore, and I crawl over to the broken window to just have a look. The crazy noise is coming from a stop sign at the corner of the street. The wind makes the sign quiver violently and bend almost to the ground, but the sign keeps popping back up, as if trying to shake off the great force of the hurricane. That's sort of how I feel, like that stop sign, just quivering inside, but fighting back. The noises the hurricane makes are like nothing I've ever heard before. The shriek of roof shingles explode into the air, flocks of frightened birds, metal screaming as if it's in pain. Ripped apart trees rising in a whirl like ingredients in a giant blender. The eerie snap, ping, as power lines and phone lines break away from the poles, uncoiling against the wet ground like giant whips. Oh, I think I've made a connection. If the phone lines and the power lines are snapping, that makes sense. What Zane said earlier. Do you agree with me? Comments, please. The hurricane keeps on coming. On and on it roars by like an insane train that never seems to end. Bandy keeps looking at my head. He thinks he thinks that if he's a good enough dog, I'll make it stop. I hug him closer. Why do you think Zane is hugging him closer? For Bandy's sake? For his own sake? Or to comfort both of them? For both of their sakes? What do you think? Make a comment. Another window explodes. Splatters of rain hit us inside the house. Oh my God. Splatters of rain hit us inside the house. Rain like hard, tiny bullets. Please stop. Please stop. Please, please. I keep praying and asking. Here's the thing about being afraid. After a while, it makes you tired. As the hours go by, I start to nod off, chin lolling on my chest. It feels like the hurricane has always been here and always will be, so I might as well sleep. The storm invades my dreams, and I see my mom with her yellow hair streaming in the wind, yelling words I can't make out. Miss Trissy is there, too, trying to sing louder than the wind, but she can't, and rain comes from her eyes, soaking me to the skin. Real or imagined? Give me some answers. When I wake up, the storm is softened. The wind is still blowing, rattling the world, but the air feels lighter. There's a patch of blue in the morning sky, and for just a moment, no more than a heartbeat, I'm convinced the hurricane was a bad dream. But the branch sticking through the broken window is real. And so is the fact that the rain reached deep inside the house dampening my clothes. Oh my goodness. So more of the rain is in the house. The damp doesn't matter. We survived, me and Bandy. The worst of the storm is over, and the roof is still on the house. Broken windows can be fixed. There's a funny bubble deep inside my chest, like a balloon, expanding with joy. I'm so happy, thankful to be alive. Both Bandy and I survived. Come on, Bandy. Let's see what it looks like out here. Bandy's still fearful, but he follows me out to the front porch. The wind is coming from the other side of the house, and we're sort of protected from the worst of it. There are leaves and broken branches everywhere, and strange things left by the storm. A pair of new sneakers with the laces still tied up, a plastic bottle filled with milk, a Scooby-Doo pajama top tied in knots, a pink rubber ball, and a poor little brown bird with a broken neck. Poor little thing, I'm thinking. You poor dead bird. Bandy barks sharply, as if he senses something off in the distance. And a moment later, there's a deep boom, like the sound when you thump the side of an empty fuel oil tank, only deeper, deep enough to feel it rumble through your bones and in the bottom of your belly. Not a good noise. Something big and bad just happened. Next, I hear a pop, 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 like corks being released from a row of bottles, and the fat, wet noise of rushing water. That's when I see it with my own eyes. A manhole cover pops into the air, releasing a geyser of brown water. A geyser is like when water, just tons of it, just shoots up from the ground and goes everywhere. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, guys. Oh my goodness, hold on. Then another, and then another, right down the street. 1, 2, 3, 4. Torrents of water surge up from the ground, and more of it pours in from all sides, spilling around and under the houses, carrying debris along in the wake. Enough water came out to fill the whole world. Uh-oh. Is Zane in trouble? Is this a good thing? Water pop, 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 just shooting up everywhere. Think about what Miss Trissy said happened during the last hurricane when all the water came. Think about that. If you remember, put it in the comments. I'm sending you copies of chapter 9. You need to, after you get through viewing this, go back in and read the pages for chapter 9, because we're going to recap and talk about that. If there's anything new that you need to add to your organizer, go ahead and do it. We'll pick up on our plots and events together. All right. Until tomorrow, remember, after you listen, read the copies I sent you of chapter 9. Till then, Rockets.